This episode of the Community Workbench podcast is brought to you by yours truly, the realtor Matt Norn of Remax Bell Park Realty. For all of your real estate needs, call me 860-428-6534. Your dreams are my job. Welcome to the Community Workbench. This is Matt Norn and not Kyle. Kyle's chasing Taylor Swift somewhere around the country. No, just kidding. He's on vacation with his family. Normally, we are your hosts, but just tonight, I'm your host. And at the bench, we try to repair the sense of community. So every week, we bring you small businesses, entrepreneurs, community leaders, charities, and pretty much whoever we feel like having on. And today, we feel like talking to Ron Keiltyka and Danielle Wallace of Team Squared, a school for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu out of Brooklyn, Connecticut. Welcome, guys. How are you?
We're doing great, Matt. How are you?
I'm super glad we finally came together to do this.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah,
I know you're a busy guy.
And you guys were, one of the early supporters. Kind of texted me out of the blue, and I was like, "Yes, I'd love to have you on." So
yeah, it was after I think you had on our landlords.
yeah, Ashling Jim, great people there.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
And so you guys basically take up their back studio room. How many nights a week now?
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
We have, is it 19? I think 19 classes a week over there. Morning, afternoon, and evening. So, yeah, we've got, it's about 1,600 square feet back there.
Yeah, nice.
We have fun.
And what's the address, just so everybody knows?
It's 208 Providence Road.
There you go. Yep. Awesome. Is there a phone number or website you want to plug?
Yeah, our website is bjjsquaredbrooklyn.com.
.com. Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
I don't know if we introduced, this is Danielle.
Yeah, Danielle Wallace.
Me. Hello.
She's been with us 2.5 years. She's a big
years.
part of our new women's program.
Okay.
And our children's program as well. She's a coach. So,
Yeah.
big
Awesome.
Big part.
So as far as credentials, like your black belt, Ron, are you a black belt as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
Blue belt.
Blue belt. Okay. Awesome. And where is blue belt? How many belts are there?
White. Everybody gets their white belt when they walk in.
Okay.
You're going to be a white belt for about 2 years.
Okay.
And
Understood.
after that, it goes blue, purple, brown, and then black.
Oh, okay.
Spending probably an average of 2 years at each belt.
Wow.
So you're looking at 8 to 10 years.
To become a black belt. Okay.
It's just depends how much you train, of course, too. Some guys train 7 days a week and they can get their black belt in 4 years.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's mat time and it's experience.
Right.
What it really
Time,
comes down to.
experience. Now, when you go for another belt, do you like have to go to a competition, or is there like something like, is it something that you as the instructor decides? Like, how does that work?
That's an interesting question. Jiu-Jitsu is very, very informal
Okay.
as opposed to karate, the formalness, the rigidness. From lining up to the rules and the promotions, what you need to know. Every school's the same. You got to know this and this and this and this. And if you
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah,
that,
those, like,
which is,
certain
It's
checkpoints.
good. It's very, very militaristic.
Okay.
It really is. Jiu-Jitsu is from Brazil. It's laid back.
Okay.
So the whole thing is laid back. Every instructor has their own different credentials for each belt. Although in the end, it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
There are schools that compete a lot. So you got to compete a lot to get your promotions. There are schools that don't. We don't compete that much. So I don't count competing into the way I promote.
Okay.
The first belt, your blue belt, I'm going to look probably at your hips, your hip movement.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing
Yeah.
for me between white belt and blue belt, how you move your hips. That's the most important part of jiu-jitsu is your hips and your core.
And that's like your core, so like how you shift your body weight when you're
Exactly. While you're on the ground.
yeah,
While
and
you're
it
on the ground.
and it's all rolling and grappling. Is that-
Yeah, when we spar, most
Yeah.
of it's on the ground. See, that's another kind of misnomer too. It was developed to fight one-on-one.
Mhm.
Every martial art came from a certain society. In Brazil, it was mano on mano, macho guys fought one against one. It wasn't developed. Brazilian jiu-jitsu wasn't developed to fight weapons.
Okay.
In Brazil, well, at the time, they didn't fight a man back then. I don't know about Brazil now. It's crazy.
Right.
They didn't use weapons.
Yeah, they had
fought
like
like
a
a
certain
man,
understanding of
And your friends didn't break
had-
it up. They didn't help you.
Yeah.
If I had a beef with you, that was it.
Yeah.
So that's the way this style was developed.
Okay.
Because they figured most of that kind of fight ends up on the ground. They start swinging. You've seen it.
Yep.
You've
Yeah.
seen
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Ends up on the ground. So that's what, if they all up on the ground, why don't we master that? And that's what they did 100 years ago.
Right. Okay. It's
So that's what makes it
yeah.
perfect for women.
Okay.
Smaller people that might get attacked that are going to be on the ground or on the bottom. You don't want to be
okay.
on the bottom.
Yeah.
If you're down there, you want to be on the top.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So that's what we try to deal with,
Yeah.
staying on top, which all grapplers do, but
Yeah.
it's different. We have submissions and different positions, and it's just endless.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like hundreds of
Thousands.
thousands of
it's the-
combinations, techniques, one move to the other, and everything. It's I guess it's almost like an art form too.
Oh, of course
like
it
when
is.
you
Of course,
put
it's
it
a martial art. Any
together.
of
Yeah.
the
Right.
martial
Martial
art.
art.
And you express yourself through that art.
Yeah. Okay.
It becomes you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
What? When did you start? Like, what age were you at? And
Actually, I started jiu-jitsu kind of late. Jiu-jitsu didn't really come to the country and be big Brazilian jiu-jitsu until the first UFC, which was 1993.
Wow. Okay.
The Gracies were in California for a while before that, and you had to kind of know that they were there to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
After 93, it was worldwide, really, because it was on pay-per-view.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I was trained karate at the time, and at that time I was probably 8 years into karate, and I was kind of done with it. I was so beat up, hard style.
Yeah.
My body was beat. I was 32, 33, and I was looking around me, and there were no older guys in karate. They're all beat up, or they had their hip fixed or their knee fixed, and I'm thinking, oh man.
Yeah. A lot of striking.
Yeah,
Right.
I knew I had to change. A lot of
Yeah.
fight, Well,
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
Sensei saw this in me, so he had brought in the Aikido Sensei, Sensei Jinak, and we did a lot of. Everybody knows Steven Seagal.
Yep.
Well, that style that he did. That stuff
Okay.
is real effect. It is. As much as they want to bust him, that
Yeah.
stuff in the day, it was. You got to understand for when that was developed too.
Right.
It wasn't
Right.
developed for somebody who looked fancy making movies. It was
Right.
developed when you had a blade that was sharp enough to cut anything and trying to kill me.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to fight. I didn't want to roll around on the ground with you with a blade.
Right. Right. Right.
I had to stand up and fight. So again, you got to understand what these martial arts were developed for.
Right. Right.
So I had a problem with the violence of karate. I couldn't do the violence anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. with
Especially
hard
I started
striking.
teaching at my house. I was teaching kids violent karate punches and kicks, and it just didn't sit well with me.
Right. Right.
And then things happened how they're supposed to. One of my students came, and I'm going to drop his name here because he's not with us anymore. Robert Sharon. He's a great guy. He was a green belt in karate with me at the time, and he comes in. He says, "What happens if someone takes you to the ground?" And here I am, third degree karate black belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew I had a void because my brother was a high school wrestler. And I knew if he got a hold of me, we used to
Wrestling.
mess around,
Right. Yeah. It's a whole nother.
Yeah, I had nothing.
It's a
I
whole
had
nother
nothing.
world on the ground.
As much as I could
Yeah.
do, limited still, I know now. So I said, I don't know, Bones. his nickname was Bones. I don't know. So he gives me the video of UFC 93.
Yeah.
It was in 93. This was 2 years later in 95. I'm like, oh, man. I watched it. I said, that's it. I said, I'm done. I saw Hoist fight. I said, it's amazing. I said, that's what I want to do. The only way you could really train at that point were Hoist and his older brother had videotapes out. So we bought the videotapes and watched and did whatever. A couple of years, maybe not even. Maybe I had caught up to the live UFCs. So it was maybe 2 or 3 UFCs later, and Hoist won again. And he's there after, and they're interviewing him, and they said, Hoist, you just beat all these big guys. What was your training to beat these guys? He turns around and points to Rickson Gracie, his brother. So I'm sitting with my buddy just like this, watching it. I'm like, that's who we got to train with.
Yeah.
We had already gone to train with Hoist. But when he said his teacher was Rickson, so we went, and just so happens in July of 96 is when we met. We went to Long Island and trained with Rickson Gracie. And
Yeah.
was with him for a couple of years, and just kept training.
Wow. That's incredible. Because Gracie is a big.
Yeah,
that's
that
like
was
one
that
of
was
the
like
biggest
the,
names.
and at the time,
Yeah.
Rickson, he was a champion of the family. This was late 90s. I was fortunate enough to train with him in the late 90s. That's when he was at his MMA prime as well. He was doing the fights in Japan.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And he had a spat, of course, with his brothers, so he was out on his own
Mm-hmm. Okay.
trying to do it. So he was doing seminars. So that's how I met him. He would come to the East Coast,
Yeah.
do seminars. We'd go to New Jersey, Philly, North Carolina just to train with him.
Yeah. Wow.
Several times, yeah.
That's awesome.
You got your blue belt from him.
I got a blue belt from Rickson. Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, so you trained with him that much that
Well,
he was.
seminars.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. You know, I have over 40 seminar hours with Rickson. That's how
Wow.
much I went to train with him.
Yeah.
And he would see me like for 2 years. Every time he came to the East Coast, hey,
You would
you
go
know,
see
I
him,
know
and then he
him.
would see your technique.
He would
and
know
then
me,
he would
yeah.
give you the
And
belt.
he did test us.
Yeah.
There were 26 of us there, and he would put us in a certain position. We would have to escape.
Yeah.
First with a guy smaller than you, then with a guy your size, then with a guy bigger than you. And each one he would grade. Every position, 3 guys, each position and grade. So
Yeah.
I got my blue belt from
Yeah.
Rickson Gracie. It's kind of like, wow, you know,
Wow.
it's pretty cool.
That is cool. Now, do you put on seminars?
I don't myself.
You know.
I like to go to them. You know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, these guys have been in it for 20 years. The world champion. They're the guys that can sell seminars. I couldn't sell a seminar.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, locally, I
You-
know more jiu-jitsu than the guy down the road.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to draw in, you know, because there's jiu-jitsu schools everywhere. They want the big names.
Yeah.
You know, the champions. Which
Right,
I don't
right,
blame
right.
them. you know.
Right, yeah, I get it. I do remember my wife came home. She used to work at Putnam Plastics, and she was like, "This guy Ron had us doing rolling and like it was funny because she was like her and the athletic director of the company." They were the only two that would really practice it. So like everybody else was just kind of like watching, and it was funny.
so long ago.
She was like, "There's no way they got the information like we did because we actually tried it."
Wow. I forgot
Yeah.
all about that.
Yeah. I was like, "Ron Keiltyka?" And she goes, "I don't know. He didn't say his last name, but." I was like, it had to be Ron. It had to be.
Yeah, what was that girl's name?
Sarah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Wow. What a
yeah, she still works there. So,
Really?
yeah, my wife got a job at the state, so she's semi-retired now.
Good.
We actually are doing a seminar in Chicago on January 6th. So we were asked by a company who's nationwide with 1,000 employees to teach self-defense.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
these employees are traveling all over the country, sometimes in unsafe locations.
Yeah.
So we're going to go in and teach a one-day seminar.
Nice.
people can come in like workshops and then just learn some basics.
Yeah.
So that is a seminar.
That's
So
right.
yeah, that like I get what you're saying though.
I
It's-
keep her around.
but I get it. It's still kind of like a different kind of seminar.
Yeah,
where,
that's a big
you know,
thing.
it's a
Yeah.
big workshop.
This is self-defense. A lot of
Yeah.
the seminars that we're going to are focused on a few movements.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're more
right.
for jujitsu. This is
Right.
for street.
Right.
You know,
This is
what
for
happens.
laymen. This would be for laymen
Yeah.
that we would do.
Yeah, and there is a difference in the way you train. There's with gi and without a gi.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And-
Yep.
and for-
Traditionally, it's with the gi, with the uniform.
Right.
But the sport a lot now has gone to the no gi for some
No
reason.
gi. Okay.
Some people say no gi is harder. Some people say gi is harder.
Is there protective gear? Do you wear a cup?
No, you can't wear a cup.
You can't wear a cup. Why did I
Can
think
actually
that
be
was-
used as a weapon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If someone takes you back, it's a position we do.
Yeah.
Grab on the guy's back. It's just one position. You can actually use it to rub it in the spine.
Oh, wow.
Silly as
Oh,
it is, but
okay.
guys
Yeah.
figured out how to do it, and they were using it as a weapon.
Huh. Okay.
Well, you know, the Greeks didn't wear anything, so they wouldn't let them wear a cup, right?
Right.
They wouldn't let them grab.
Yeah.
And, see, in the gi, you can grab any part of the clothing.
Right.
I can
There's
grab
a handle
you.
basically
I can
everywhere.
choke you with your gi. I can
Wow.
choke you with my gi. I can choke you with my belt, choke you with your belt. But once you go no gi, I can't
There's nothing.
grab anything on you.
You're grabbing limbs.
That's it.
And that's
yeah.
it.
So it's a different game.
Yeah.
It's a different. But for this weather, it's more practical.
Right. 'Cause
So
it's
we
so
take
warm.
the gis off at the end of the June, usually. But this year was hot, so we did it a little earlier.
Yeah.
Take the gi off and wear in just shorts or in a rash guard, because again, it's more practical.
Yeah.
People are walking around like this.
Yeah.
You can't,
Right.
Why depend on it? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's wild. It's all like two different martial art forms basically because of
It is. It
how
is.
much more you could do with a gi and then how much more limited it is when you're just on the street. Plus it like brings that whole self-defense thing into it.
Really,
so.
really. With no gi,
You don't get to pick your attacker.
Right.
I'm not going to say, hey, I don't know how to train with a gi. Take your coat off now. So it gets you ready for both scenarios.
Yeah.
I don't want to put labels, but generally people that train no gi are more in it for the sport.
Okay.
They're not in it for the self-defense.
Oh wow.
You know, because
So-
with self-defense, they're going to grab your clothing a lot
Yeah.
of times.
Oh
And
yeah.
You're always
yeah.
training no gi. I guess they're starting to do it now. They don't have ranks.
Oh,
wear a
okay.
belt.
Yeah. You don't wear a belt.
And just to wear a uniform makes a whole difference in
Yeah.
the energy.
Yeah, it makes it,
It
more
really
of a
does.
discipline. You know, you come
it
to
really does.
like
And then again, I don't want to label, but I think more of the schools that wear the gi tend to do the self-defense more.
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
what's going to be more practical in the street.
Gotcha. Now, do you guys like have tournaments
Oh,
that you
yeah.
go to, and is that like required of your students?
Not at
or not at all? Okay.
I'd like to see, and I grumble about it because I always liked me. I just like to compete. I just did. I always did. I'm signed.
Yeah.
I can't. I sign up and no one's there to compete with. You know, because there's no one really left. I would like. I'm signed up for one in September. If it happens, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't. I'd kind of like to see at least one competition at each belt level.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Belt
I
level.
it's a test. It's you just stay in the same dojo the whole time. You know these people, they know you. You're
Yeah.
not really being tested. It's okay. I'd say that's level 1.
Right. Right.
Okay, it's good. You train, it's good.
Yeah.
If you want to, not everybody wants to up their level.
Right.
First thing you want to do, I tell my guys, if you want to up your level, you can go to my school where I went in Worcester, trained with Gabriel Gonzaga and his crew up there in Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
They're monsters. They're smashers.
Wow.
That's the next level.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know? I mean, we're good down here. We can hang with them, but it's just different up there.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
It's a fresh set of eyes.
And that too.
It's like the
New
whole
bodies.
thing,
They don't
like-
know you. You don't know
Yeah.
their game. So
Right.
that's another level. But then another level, I think, after that is going to the tournaments because
Mm-hmm.
now you got the top 2 or 3 people, whether the kids or of the schools.
Right.
And everybody there is good and wants to win. So
Yeah.
they're intense. And we don't have a lot of adults, but I didn't bring the kids medals, but the kids are going crazy. We had a
Nice.
homeschool family come in about a year ago. 3 boys, twins, an older boy, and great kids, great mom, great family. But they just love to compete.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we did a little competitions before them, but ever since they came, more kids came. So
Well, you started a competition class.
we have a competition class, and
Designed just for those kids that want to compete, and they work a little bit harder,
Yeah.
They're pushed a little bit more.
It's
Right,
n-
because
it's
there's
not
that
fun
motivation
then.
there
Yeah.
that go in front of a big crowd on a different day than you normally at a different place, and you're competing with different people. It puts a whole different dynamic.
the
to it,
emotions, that's a big thing we stress with the kids is try to control your emotions.
so, yeah.
And at the tournaments, it's magnified. And
Right. Yeah, I'm sure every emotion runs through
everyone.
at one point or another.
On
you
the mat, too.
That's
That's the thing about-
that's what I mean. Like you get scared, you go for it, and you're frustrated because you didn't do this, you didn't do that. It's just like everything, and I'm sure is it timed? Is this like you have timed rounds?
Oh, yeah,
Is
they're
that-
all timed. So their age limit, weight limit, and rank.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're broken down pretty even.
Yeah. And then is it like 2-minute rounds?
Oh,
And
no,
then-
the kids are...
I believe the little kids, like 5, 6, 7, they're 3 minutes, and then it gets a little bit more
more and
as
more.
you get older.
Okay.
Up
So you
to
gotta
the adult black belt matches are 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got to have some stamina.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then
I-
actually, as you go down, I think the men, my senior 5 is only, they put it down to 4 minutes. we run the clock when we spar for 6 minutes.
Okay.
6-minute
Yeah.
rounds, I mean,
Yeah.
that can be pretty long sometimes.
Hang on one second.
No problem.
Yes, Kyle. I didn't look at that checklist either. Turn the
Turn
furnace
the
off.
furnace off. That's
Totally
right.
forgot.
In the workshop.
Yeah. So when you're at these tournaments, are they local? Are they regional? Are they like super far out and away? Does it all depend?
Yeah, they're usually an hour away, hour and a half.
Yeah.
We like our weekends too, but and a tournament, if you have kids, they usually start at 9.
9. Okay.
So you got to get there, hour and a half away,
Yeah.
and then the kids take half a day, and then if you have adults, they start in the afternoon, and then sometimes the last adult goes at 6. So it's a long day sometimes.
Yeah. Wow.
Some days it's 2 days. Some tournaments are so big it's kids one day, adults the next.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there are thousands of competitors.
Yeah.
They have them. Last one we did was right at the Providence.
DCU Center, Providence, Amica Center.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so some are local, and then some are in Newton, like
Yeah.
2 hours. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't travel more than. I don't think we travel more than 2 hours.
So that's cool. You guys go as a team, the whole
Yep.
bit. And
Yeah.
Is that mainly gis? Is that
They do both. The
They do
gis do
both at
both.
those too.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that like a different category you enter? Like you sign up for no gi tournament or like
You can
most,
choose.
Most of the tournaments have gi and no gi.
wow.
There's
Well,
just
so-
a couple that have
Gi only.
strictly gi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine it would make the process longer, right? Because you have to. Have
Oh yeah, sure, of course.
different
Sure.
rounds.
Not everybody does both, but certain people just do one.
Yeah.
That's
Gotcha.
their thing, which
It-
I could understand.
It's a long day, but we have quite a few coaches now for the kids.
Nice.
When my kids first started with Ron, it was just him on the mat. In 2020, there was just 8 kids, 1 coach, and now we have 4 and 5 coaches on the mat
Wow.
every single
awesome.
kids class.
That's awesome.
Volunteers,
Yeah.
people that ask and want to do it. That's the thing too.
Right.
They, they want to be there.
We're big on volunteer local here. Same thing with my kids in baseball and scouts, and it's basically who's willing to just go for it and kind of volunteer, and then it makes it so much easier on the coaches and stuff like that. What made you decide to open this school up? Give us a little bit of the origin story of Team Squared.
Let's see. Well, actually, I guess my first place was still when I was training karate. Was in probably 1991. I had trained in Jewish City for 10 years. I traveled there from Danielson.
Oh, wow.
And one of my buddies from Danielson started training in Jewish City, and I don't know, I just made the ride, but I guess he got sick of it one day, and he says, why don't you start, and I had a big house, and
Yeah.
why don't you start a class at your house? I'm like, oh, okay. So I did in 1991. I just started having my own people.
Yeah.
Not that Sensei really, he trained us to be able to teach anyway. You know, you worked up the
Yeah.
ranks, and when you're a black belt, you were leading class. If Sensei didn't make it out the class, you know, you taught or whatever. So it was a natural progression
Yeah.
to teach.
Yeah.
So I was at my house teaching for years, and even through the jiu-jitsu. And
Yeah.
then I would get, I think one of the first places, you know where Napa is now in Brooklyn?
Yep.
When it
Yep.
was a gym, you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Upstairs.
Okay.
That was like in
Dude.
2000, 2001.
Wow.
I rented
okay.
there upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then they moved to Prince Hill.
Okay. The gym. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I-
there was a gym there,
yeah.
and I moved there. And I was in Plainfield, you know, always kind of subletting from the gyms,
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
gyms. And then in 2014, I had the opportunity to kind of go public, I guess, in my own place.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's when we opened up in Danielson, right across from Jay Garden.
Yep. All right.
And
I remember you being
beautiful,
over there.
Beautiful
Yeah.
facility there. Which you could say, well, same about the landlords, but that's a tough thing.
Oh, okay.
So we've moved still since then.
yeah.
But it was something even in karate, everything I got from it, and especially jiu-jitsu, I just wanted other people to feel that.
To feel it, yeah.
To benefit that, because
Right.
I felt it was too good to keep to myself.
Yeah, I mean, you've already gone over, confidence building, leadership skills. I mean, there's so many positives to it. Self-control, emotional control, that type of stuff. That's like huge. That's actually kind of rare to be taught, right?
The steps that the kids make, and Danielle can talk to this too. It's the kids. Oh my God, it's just amazing to see these kids grow
Yeah.
in amazing ways. They
Yeah.
amaze themselves at what they can do. They challenge themselves.
Nice.
They get up now instead of falling, and they'll get up, and now they know to get up and do something about it. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, they get that little bit of tough
Resilience.
love and then resilience, and that's awesome. And do you guys do like a strictly self-defense course that's like shorter term, or is
Ron sprinkles in the self-defense for the adult and the males, right? At any given day, he might teach them self-defense, but specifically for the women, we started a self-defense course last year. So it's been almost a year and a half. We've had a self-defense course for women,
nice?
which he teaches. And he works on mostly stand up. What happens if someone grabs you? How do you escape, pulling, pushing, and how to have a good base.
Yeah.
How to have awareness before all that.
Yeah.
And then that evolved into a women's jiu-jitsu program. And so he comes once a month and visits and does self-defense with the women.
Oh wow.
So we have a women's jiu-jitsu program led by myself and blue belt Kelsey. And it's just girls, no
Yeah.
guys allowed,
Yeah.
which is really cool because when I started, I was like, it was all guys for a few
Right.
weeks. It was really intense. So a lot of these women are coming in saying, I wouldn't have started if it wasn't just for women. So it's a
okay.
good way to get women in the door. And then Ron comes and teaches self-defense once a month.
Nice.
But in our adult classes with the men too, we also do self-defense.
Yeah.
Depends what he wants to teach and what he feels is important for us.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like any of these practices or art forms, they're practices in art forms. Like as a realtor, like if I don't practice, I mean they change contracts all the time. But if you're not familiar and you're not selling houses and watching the market and that type of stuff, you'll lose the skill set. Basically, am I right?
Of
It's the same
course,
thing
of
with
course. You gotta
jujitsu
keep
or
that weapon
self-defense.
sharp.
You got to keep it.
You
Okay.
know, you got to keep your body. Fitness is a big thing
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu. Maybe I take it to different levels of how important I think it is.
Right. Well, even the suggested, 20 minutes a day, which is not really enough as
It
it
depends
is.
what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
20 minutes with me, that's all you'll need. No, really, because you're going to
Yeah.
move your body in ways you never have
Yeah.
that are efficient, that you will take into your senior years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you
that
don't
makes
want to be
sense.
immobile as you get old. You
Right.
want to keep getting more and more mobile. You
Yeah.
don't want to have to fall and not be able to get up.
Right.
And I talk to people my age who are afraid to even sit on the ground or kneel because they
Yeah.
don't know how to get back up.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, you got to keep the strength training going. It's super easy to lose, as I know.
For 30, 40 years, I was into train hard, warm up, work hard. But I through therapy, I realized I can't just go.
Okay. Yeah.
They told me 10 years ago if I didn't stop doing what I was doing, I wouldn't be walking
Really? Wow.
because of painting for 25 years.
Yep.
And on top of the jiu-jitsu and the karate for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I had to make some choices. Got a lot of therapy.
Wow.
A lot of therapy, and now 10 years took me 10 years, but now I'm actually pain-free. I was in pain for decades, just my whole body.
Okay.
But now I'm pain-free.
And that was just you were overworking the body.
Everything.
Everything
Yeah,
was
just way too much.
not enough
Not
recoup
enough
time.
Good therapy, good
That-
chiropractic, massage therapy. It's
Physical therapy, the whole bit.
fascia therapy, which is a big thing that's helped me amazingly. So now my warm-ups aren't grueling hard. They're more of a warm-up and something that's going to help you in your longevity.
Yeah. So it's movement.
It's
type of
movement.
Stuff.
It's a lot of the jiu-jitsu warm-ups are just the same jiu-jitsu movements. So you're doing the same movements over, repetitive, thousands and thousands and thousands of times. You need to unwind all those movements and
Yeah.
do the opposite. It's kind of like yoga, what we do in a way. We do some yoga, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of other different stretches that we do to preserve, especially your hips
Yeah.
and your back.
Yeah.
You know, that's used a lot.
Right.
in
Yeah. It's
jiu-jitsu.
a
So
lot of core
once
movement.
you learn
right?
how to preserve that, and I have the guys tell me all the time how good their hips and everything feel. Since this was actually developed by a jiu-jitsu guys, so we could still train and
okay.
feel good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So we went to a seminar about a year ago
yeah.
and learned from this guy some of his basic stuff, and it's just amazing.
That's why it's so cool, jujitsu. It's like for any body,
Right.
right? I started at a 37-year-old woman, no martial arts, zero, was scared to go in the door, And then we have 5-year-old kids, and then we have a 60-year-old man. So it's just such a wide range.
Yeah.
So it's not scary,
Right. Right.
but it seems like it could be, until you walk in the door and you're like, oh, we're all here for the
schools
same
could
thing.
be,
Right.
But
We're not scary.
Well,
Well, you are a little scary.
but we're community though. I wanted
Yeah.
to really talk about how
Yeah.
we have entire families that train.
Right.
Moms, dads, kids, siblings. I was trying to think today how many actual siblings we have that train with
Yeah.
us. There's got to be at least a dozen
Yeah.
separate, families, but siblings actually.
We have about 80 to 90 athletes,
Wow.
kids and adults total, and so many of them are related. I mean,
Yeah.
my kids are on the mat. My husband's injured. He was on the mat. A lot of families.
Did Ron injure him?
No. I don't want to hurt anyone.
Ron is the safest person, which
People don't think-
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
They think you have to be afraid of the brown belt or the black belt. Those are the safest people on the mat. Or the purple belts. White belts, forget it. You don't-
Right, because
they're-
you're
oh
more
my God.
experienced and you kind of know when to back off or when to. Is it? Do you guys like pin and then tap and like pin and then tap? Is that like?
Yeah, tapping
Kind
is
of
part
how
of
it
that's
goes.
that's the goal.
Well, that's what I mean. Like you get into it, you're rolling, and then you're trying to make each other tap out,
of
right?
course, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of tapping. A lot of tapping. I don't mind either. It's self-preservation.
Yeah, I would.
It's okay.
I would imagine, like you said, it's 2 years to blue belt. I would imagine most of that is tapping out.
On the bottom.
On the bottom.
On your
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time on your back. But the whole thing about the tapping, really, in reality, way back, that was, if they were on the ground, either you or I were going to die, whether it be standing or on the ground. If it ended up on the ground, still, back then, one of us was going to die.
Ooh.
So if I had to break your arm, that's why there are arm locks.
Yeah.
The easiest way to kill you on the ground is to choke you out. So that's really, if you see in Jiu-Jitsu, that's the big choke, the rear naked choke.
Okay. Yeah.
The lion slayer, they call that.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So that's the ultimate. You don't need a weapon. You don't need a gi,
You're right.
right? And it's a blood choke.
Yeah.
So it's just going to put you to sleep first.
Gotcha.
If you keep it on, okay? But if I need to break your arm to get to your
neck,
that's
Yeah.
what it would be. So there's a podcaster that says you should thank your partner for not killing you every time he taps you out, because in effect, that's his goal
Yeah.
is to kill you.
Gotcha.
So if it's hard to keep that in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
but when you go through this, it is there.
Mhm.
It is there. Not that you're going to do it, but that's your movements towards getting there.
Right.
If you can understand that.
Yeah, and then I kind of wonder on the self-defense side, me being who I am, you get so used to somebody tapping. If you had an actual attacker on the street and they just tap and then they get out of it,
There's one jokester on the internet that says, "Hey, I can escape any jiu-jitsu technique."
you just tap it.
Okay. Very good.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
But you hope that guy lets go because
Right.
he doesn't have to.
Yeah. Gotcha.
We talk about in the situation of an attacker, though, you're going full force. I mean, we train with each other and are respectful of each other, but if I had an attacker, there'd be no mercy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you got to do. So we talk about that with the women, the kids, whoever. You're like, we pretend to maybe knee in the balls, elbow in the balls. We're going full force if we're on the street.
Yeah. Right.
So-
That's yeah. But I would imagine some of that stuff was tough to, now we're in a real street, you know what I mean? Just like your adrenaline starts running, that type of stuff. That's why, the muscle memory and the practice is.
That's why the
Think about
tournaments,
it.
I think, are good.
Yeah.
You get to put yourself there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
it's
next level.
A lot more hype. Yeah. A lot more.
A lot of people screaming, hundreds of people
Yeah. Wow.
looking at you.
Right.
You don't know him. He doesn't know you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So as we were talking before, sorry about the dogs. There's no one home upstairs. So
With dog people.
they're just playing. And Ricky, Lucy, go. Yeah, so I took jiu-jitsu when I was pretty young. I was like 8, 9 years old.
Judo, I think.
Judo. And I remember going to the tournament. I got a yellow belt. Well, they had more belts. There was like yellow, orange, red. There was like a bunch of them. Yeah. And I remember I got my yellow belt. That was when I did pin a guy and did all that. And then the second one I went to, going for the orange belt, they had another orange belt, and he just like threw me on the floor. And I remember that, trying to catch my breath and stuff. And I got into the other sports like soccer and basketball, and didn't really go back to judo, but definitely way more intense, like the Tuesday, Thursday night with the sensei in the gym that you're familiar with, and then on the weekends all of a sudden you're at this big tournament, like you said, hundreds of people. It's wild. I mean, even if you just watch one on TV, it's intense. And then I used to go to when my cousin was in high school, he was on the Ellis Tech wrestling team, and I wasn't really into wrestling at all, and then I just went to support him. I was just like, I could not scream loud enough how intense and how like magnetic it is to go to one of these things. And then to the other side of it, like when one of the kids from Ellis Tech ended up a couple of weeks beforehand had broken somebody's arm. and he was still upset about it and still didn't. And it's just like a lot of people think like fighters and wrestlers are like these, mean, violent people. And I just like, it could not be further from the truth. Like the kid, you could tell, like, and the coach was kind of explaining to us, like he's still timid. He doesn't want to break anyone's arm. And it was like, it's, accidents happen, but it's, like you were saying, when they're more experienced, less of those types of accidents happen and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
I say so often that although these guys and gals down the road, they're killers. They're killers, man.
yeah.
It's unreal, the skill. And I've had guys come in that were high school wrestlers, know their stuff, and he pops in every now and then. I went to high school with him. He's like, wow. He says, I can't believe the talent in this room.
Nice.
And that's all good. That's good. But I say, yeah, that's good. That's good. They're all, but still, some of the nicest people you ever meet.
Yeah.
These people down here will do anything for you.
Yeah.
For our family down, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
What we've built.
Yeah, the community aspect of it.
We have police officers who train with us.
Nice.
And we actually have had some law enforcement trainings offered to the local police stations free. We have women, like moms, old people, young people. There's just everyone. It's not just for 25-year-old men who are just kill.
Yeah.
Like I thought
full of
that's
testosterone.
what it was. I thought that's what it was, but it is not like that at all.
Gotcha. You said you started at 37.
Yeah. And I started, Kyle Richter from Ashling.
I do.
Big guy.
Yeah.
He got me started, and I was like, oh my gosh, if you can do this, I'm not doing this, because he's the opposite of me.
Okay.
But he helped me the first few classes, and it was just cool because I was scared. I worked through that.
Yeah.
And then having a guy on top of me, awful.
Right.
Especially if you have trauma, right? Like, it's even worse.
Oh,
And we have women in our classes in our self-defense program, and we're aware of that. We're like, hey, this is a really uncomfortable position to be in, but we're going to work you through what to do next time.
Right.
But I mean, I've cried on that mat. I've laughed on that mat. I have fun on that mat. But it was not easy. It's not easy as a woman, but the community makes it fine. Yeah. They're good. They're fine. We're dog people.
Yeah. Sorry.
They like it. They feel the energy.
Just loud. Usually
It never gets easy. That's the thing.
No, I don't expect it to be easy. I think that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a martial art.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what you hear rumbles that start complaining or whatever. The kids are, this is a martial art.
Yeah.
This is a martial art.
Yeah.
It never gets easy. It gets less hard.
It gets less hard. Well, yeah,
but it never gets easy.
I would imagine, if you start, and part of what I kind of want to do, I see me like if joining the dojo, right? Dojo, that's what we call it. Like, you do some things, you learn some stuff, and then you kind of struggle. So now, all right, now I'm going to eat less junk food, and I'm going to maybe go do a bunch of push-ups and start training on the off time because I want to get better at what you're teaching me.
That's
I want
where
to be
the
more efficient with
part
it.
comes in. They call it the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle. And when I was coming up, I'm like, what's that? What's that? These guys, they stay up late, they sleep late, they train a few times, but that's the first thing usually is the diet.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep up. You want to keep up with the group.
Right.
But your soul search, that's the thing. It's the mat is nothing but truth.
Yeah.
Truth about you.
Right.
And if you can't handle the truth, they don't stay.
Yeah.
They don't stay.
Gotcha.
Biggest questions you have your first week are about about yourself.
Right. Yeah.
About you, and so you say, okay, why? Oh, yeah. And I remember back 39 years ago when I think, I got to change my diet.
Mm-hmm.
I can't eat during the day. I can't. I used to go eat big lunch and everything. When you're on a job, eat,
right? Oh yeah, job sites are notorious for junk food.
So that's when I changed.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't eat like this anymore. Then it's like, oh. Next thing you know, I'm not having so many beers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 20 years old. I'm not having so many beers the night before because, you know.
Yeah.
So
you want to keep up.
they have a saying, Jiu-Jitsu saves, and so many people can attest to that. Jiu-Jitsu saves. You know, I have people tell me that. Oh, my
Wow.
God, I don't know where I'd be without Jiu-Jitsu. I said, you think you're telling me something?
Yeah.
Knows
Yeah, that's amazing.
where I would be.
Right.
Really. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that part up, like the emotional breaks, like
Well, that's the battle. That's the biggest battle.
Yeah.
With your own emotions.
Yeah.
It's not with the white belts or the bully or whatever. I have no bullies, but you know,
right.
it's with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you're competing with yourself.
And once you can go back, it's like you're gaining that confidence in yourself every time. Oh, I can do this. You know,
Right.
Things that are hard, I'm like, oh, I can do it. I can do jujitsu.
And
Yeah.
you take that off the mat.
Right.
One thing I've taken off the mat, it's kind of weird, is using leverage. Jiu-Jitsu is all about leverage. So now every time I go to move something, lift, I'm thinking, how can I lever this thing to move it instead of
Right. Yeah, instead of brute force.
you bring your jiu-jitsu in every aspect of it. Once you try to learn control those emotions,
Yeah.
you can bring that off the mat and help society. That's the thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.
There's so many people that are training like that's the thing. It's changing I believe it's changing the energy.
Right.
Because there's so many good schools like this that
Yeah.
are doing this, that are spreading this good energy of jiu-jitsu.
Makes sense.
And it's so ironic that it's a lethal martial art that brings all these good people together.
Yeah.
It's so ironic to me.
Yeah, it's really funny to think about that. Like, oh, society's gonna get better once we all learn how to fight each other.
There would be no bullies. That's why I think we talked earlier about having
Yeah.
this in the schools.
Yeah.
If this was taught from first grade,
Right.
there would be no bullies.
Yeah, at the very least to introduce it. And I don't mean it just like when we were in gym class, they had a couple of weeks of hockey, and a couple of weeks of flag football. You have a couple of weeks of basketball, and it's like those are the things that get people interested in those sports. They could do a couple of weeks at jiu-jitsu or whatever, even if it was just self-defense, karate, whatever it is, and then the other thing of the first responder aspect of it, the police and stuff. It's kind of wild to think that it's not even really a requirement when it. I know there's a lot of controversy around it, and we won't go there, but I think some level of belt should be issued before,
Or at least some kind of certificate for something.
Yeah, some sort of practice being done, whether it be at, when you become a cop, if you're at, like, for Yukon, or for, not Yukon, for Connecticut State Police, they have their big training place out in Hartford or whatever.
Yeah, they have two of them.
Yeah, to have, I know they do some fighting, some hand-to-hand combat. It's like boxing and sparring and stuff, but, like, to me, you always end up on, like you said, your brother was a wrestler, and if he got a hold of you and you went to the ground, there was nothing you could do.
Yeah.
And that's probably the same. It goes for almost any street fight. If you don't know what you're doing on the ground, it'll always end up on the ground because stamina. You know what I mean? It's not a Van Damme movie where everybody stays on their feet until there's a TKO. It's just like, it's going to be, you're not going to be able to stand up the whole time, and you're going to use your weight, and someone's going to pull somebody down. And, if it's just fatigue on both fighters,
I even in our self-defense, we really don't want to go down.
Okay.
That's the last place we really want to go. That's why most of our self-defense deals with getting that person down.
Oh,
and
okay.
we stay up.
Yeah, the takedown. Okay, so you still go to the ground, but you're on top.
If we have to.
But you're on top.
Last resort.
Yeah.
Last resort.
Gotcha.
We'll go to a mount, or what we call a knee to belly, where you're still on top.
Right.
Okay. Everything out there is hard.
Yeah.
Matt,
Yeah.
We're on 2 inches of mat. That's what I tell the people inside. You can be soft and lazy in here, but you go out there and try that floppy roll
Right.
on something hard.
Yeah.
Or go grapple someone out there in the lobby on that floor. Right. See how that feels.
Yeah, that's true.
In the pavement.
Yeah.
You want to grapple now? No.
No.
You want to stay up. You want him getting road burn on his back or his face. I don't want to,
Yeah.
not on my knees.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it really is the last place.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna all depend. God, who knows? But who knows what you're ever gonna do? But I would never specifically say I'm gonna take that guy unless I was on the lawn at a party, whatever, But
Oh, good. Let's have a party
in a parking lot. Oh,
Yeah,
first
right.
thing I'm gonna do is run.
Yeah.
Tell you the
Okay.
truth.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
thing I'm gonna do
Avoid
is run.
first rule of
Sensei told us that 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't be there.
Yeah. Avoid it at all costs. Yeah.
But
Oh.
unfortunately, and the kids today, and the schools. That's why.
We have we're starting a community outreach where we're going to be sending out a proposal to local schools. We would love to come in, work with different schools on an anti-bully program or a self-defense program. Just introducing the kids of what happens if someone pushes you, how to fall safely. That simple.
Right.
They don't even know how to fall. Their head's going to hit the ground. It's going to jerk back. How do you fall? Tuck your neck in, fall on your arms, not your head. Simple stuff. And we would move forward from there.
Wow.
But just like showing these kids that you can be empowered. Because we have kids that come to our program and they say, oh man, someone was pushing me, someone was bullying me, and we know what to do right away.
Yeah.
Just not to hurt them, to avoid the situation.
Right.
And how to get away. So we want to start getting into some schools.
I would imagine, especially I know because my kids go to Brooklyn. They have the elementary school has a back to school barbecue, and I know that there was another dojo there doing displays and had signups for it.
Oh.
So what you're talking about, I'm pretty sure would be well received.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
At least there. So
We're just starting to get into the schools because we have so many homeschoolers.
yeah.
Probably half of what we have.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many homeschoolers we have.
Yeah, I think
That's their
COVID
thing.
was a big thing for
You know,
that.
That's their gym. So,
Yeah.
their gym
Oh, yeah,
class,
yeah, that's their gym class.
Yeah, so we have, again, that family there 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes these kids are there.
Wow. Yeah, well, you find a place where you can be comfortable. I'm sorry, I was trying to say this right. Find a place where you can be comfortable going out of your comfort zone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
huge.
like
Exactly.
that's
Yes.
a big thing for anyone to find.
Yes.
And, just like lifting weights or any other practice, like you find your teammates or your place of where I get to try something different, something new. I get to challenge myself, and I'm around people that I'm comfortable with to do that. You know what I mean? So that'll be. I get that where like that family's coming from for that for sure, and kind of speaks volumes to you guys as to what you're doing, what you're creating there for the school. I know Ashling Gym, they speak so highly of you, and it just coincides with the lifestyle part of it to be fit and
Empowered.
healthy, empowered, confident.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good partnership. We have some of the moms that and the dads too that actually they leave the kids with us and they go train.
Yeah, they go work out.
Yeah. And they have the 24/7 gym, so parents could potentially drop their kids off and even just go do a 24/7 if they didn't want to take a CrossFit class.
Right. Yeah, they got
They have
everything
spin,
over there.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said. This is great. It's always amazing to me how many things out there to keep your kids off of the screens. Like how many there's really no excuse for your kids to be without activity.
Right.
Just I've seen so many kids just be locked on to the screens, and I see it in my own kids. Like they'll binge watch stuff, and to have local people like you that we can honestly, to me, like just meeting you for the first time, Danielle, is like, it's just like Ron. There's such a trusting way about you guys. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like when you go into certain people's houses, you're like, oh, it feels like a home. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what you feel when you're in you guys' presence. And forever. So Ron and I met 20 some odd years ago when I started working for Woodstock Builders. He was one of the painters, and he employed Ed, who we had on here an episode or two ago. And we're just always loved hanging out with Ron on the job site. And there's just all the fun stuff that ensues on a job site.
Yeah, and I don't miss any of it. I don't. As much as it was at the time, and
yeah.
And I just realized this recently. The only thing I do miss was how happy the people were after I'm done.
Yeah. When they come in and they see
that made it. But now I have that every time I go to the dojo.
Right.
Everyone's so happy. They're so happy. So I'm not missing anything.
Yeah.
I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. 7-8 years ago, became a realtor from being carpenter for hire, and my body thanks me all the time for that. But for me, it was, when you have a client as a carpenter, you're with them for a couple of, whatever it is, a week, a month,
Sure.
whatever. And to me, as a realtor, I just get to be that part, with the people, not having to go do all the hard labor work. Because
so you still get the satisfaction of
right,
making
it's
people
more
happy.
Yeah, and they're they buy their dream home, or they get out from underneath some crazy mortgage, or they're downsizing, or they're upsizing, all those things. And it's, to me, it took me a while to realize that, like, the most enjoyable part is working with people
and making them happy.
Right.
More people
should
should realize that.
Yeah.
Right? That's
right.
I think what Jiu-Jitsu does is just, again, they're all killers, but they're the happiest people.
Right.
They don't, I guess, you don't have to worry about things anymore.
The more you're, I mean,
it's like not much bothers you when you got 20 guys trying to tear your head off. What's going to be worse when you leave? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If you are like, the hardest part of your day, if you're making it what it is, like the hardest thing you've ever gone through is the hardest thing you've ever gone through, whether that's the broken fingernail, or somebody died, or you came close to dying. That could be the hardest thing that you've ever gone through. But on a daily basis, that's what you're gauging it off of. And if you make your morning routine the hardest part of your day, the rest of your day is pretty easy.
Or like, most of the guys and the ladies, they have to wait till the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to get there, that's the dedication.
Yeah.
People, they know what they're going to go through.
Right.
They know it's not going to be easy. You're going to get beat up.
Yeah.
But they still come. And the kids too. That's why I tell the kids all the time how amazing they are. But that's how much they love it. They keep coming back. They wake up in the morning, Mom, is it Jiu-Jitsu today?
Nice. Yeah.
And it's awesome. Part of the lifestyle,
Yeah.
It gets you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I become a better person. I went in there. I didn't know who I was when I started. I don't know what was going on. Nothing. And I'm just a completely different person.
Yeah.
I'm just like overall happier, getting to use my body in ways I never thought I would. And then just having this empowerment. It's huge. It's huge, especially for women. You guys don't get it, right? You're guys. But it just, it's different. Everyone's journey is different. Ron says that. And it's true. But especially for the women and the kids, it's like you can just change your entire life.
Yeah.
You can just feel so much stronger.
Right.
So.
I will say I feel a lot of times I'm strolling through life hoping nobody will attack me.
Well, me too.
But you would have something to do.
Right. I'd be more likely to help someone else.
Yeah.
I would help someone else before I would defend myself. I would run if it was me. But if I saw someone, I wouldn't run from. I would.
Right. Yeah, it's
That's
that
just
more
me at this point,
protective status. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an old man. I could say whatever, I've had my fun,
Yeah.
most of
Yeah.
it.
So, and now in September you have a big tournament coming up.
We do.
Right. And you said sometimes they don't have competitors for you.
No. Actually, I think the last one I did was probably 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It was a Hickson. Hickson put on a tournament in New York. So we went because I had one. I had one competitor. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. And I had a couple guys too. So I met the guy, and actually the guy who put on the tournament kind of knew me through Hickson or whatever. He kind of knew, and he didn't. He wanted to get me a match. Really,
Yeah.
what it came down to. So I get there, and we're in they call it the bullpen where all the competitors are getting ready. So
Oh, okay.
everyone gets
Yeah.
in there, kind of eyeing everybody up. Oh my God. So I see, I'm even at the time, I'm 50. I'm one of the older guys. So I'm like, yeah, this must be the guy I'm going against. So I'm gonna go talk to him. Hey, I'm Ron. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna compete. Okay, good. Best out of 3. Yeah. Okay. He says, yeah. I says, oh. He says, we got to be careful on the takedowns. He says, my knee's bad and I got to get surgery in a week or two. I'm like,
Oh, my goodness.
he says, yeah, and I got this thing. He had a stint in his heart. This guy who's like older than me, I don't even know if he was a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu or maybe an honorary one. And he was a karate. I don't even know. But he was like, I'm like, oh man, they literally pulled this guy out of who knows where just to give me a match, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, I got to fight this guy, and I don't want to hurt him, So
Right.
I actually took a 2-point deficit because I didn't take him. I didn't want to take him down. I actually what they call pull guard. I pulled him on top of me to start.
Oh, wow.
That's a -2 for me because that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I knew I could make up my 2 points, and I ended up beating a guy like 16-2.
Yeah.
So that was the last match I had,
Mm.
and if I'm thinking if they got to pull guys in from who knows where
Yeah.
to compete with, it's not worth it. I could compete if I went down 2 age. If I fought, I could fight 40-year-olds all day long if I wanted to.
You're not 40?
I'm done with that.
I'm being nice.
I was done with the 40-year-olds 20 years ago.
Wow.
Man. So I fight enough 40-year-olds down there.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it at a tournament. So actually, I'm signed up. It's senior 5 division, and the way it goes, it's after 30, every 5 years is another division. So it's actually a division that's 50 and older. So I'm still giving up 10 years to whoever I might go with. So,
I still wouldn't have thought you were 60, though.
62.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got your AARP card?
No, I don't. They didn't hunt me down, but I don't.
That's fun.
It's timeless. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no plans of stopping or
Yeah.
this is me now. If I stopped, I don't know what I would do.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, you can't let a guy.
I tell them at least another 10 years. Get that whole group, all their black belts someday, and then I can move on.
To what?
An island, maybe.
You can't let a guy like you be bored.
Well, no, I would
Sure.
still train, but just the 5 days a week, and
Not be so much of the instruction part. That kind of thing. Talk to me a little bit about like the scoring. Like, how does that work with?
It's based on positions.
Okay.
Okay.
And they have like a panel of judges watching.
Oh, they have
every
one
match.
ref.
Oh, they have
Usually
ref.
one ref in the middle. Some of
Okay.
the professional matches, they have other refs that will, talk about it. But yeah, one ref in the middle. There's no real escape points like in wrestling.
Okay.
Mountain, it's hard to explain, but dominant positions
Okay.
are rewarded with points.
Okay.
And those
Sense.
those dominant positions are actually based on street positions that you would
Okay.
take in the street
Oh,
to
wow.
dominate. Jiu-Jitsu's philosophy is you would never trade strikes with someone. You would never box a boxer. We don't box. I'm not going to box a boxer. A boxer, I would either run or get inside where you can't.
Hit. Right, where you can't strike.
Right.
Okay.
So I want to take you out of your game.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do is just kind of analyze the attack and try to, our school, and it's the way I was taught, and I guess it's kind of a New England thing, we like to get on top and put the pressure on.
Yeah. Right. Makes sense.
Smash. If we can, submit with pressure.
Right.
A lot of people will say, I'll never submit to pressure, but I've submitted to pressure.
Yeah.
You know, with a guy that's 250 pounds, you know. Yeah, he got me, and yeah, I'm submitting to pressure. I'm 62 years old. 40 years ago, I might have fought not to fight the pressure. But,
So when you say submit to pressure, you just like you tap.
right, tap,
and,
right.
And then that gives them
Because
the point
because
or
that
whatever.
person's putting so much body weight on you.
Right. Yeah.
I weigh 170, but I
Okay.
go with the guys, they say I feel like I weigh over 200 pounds.
Gotcha.
I can
'Cause of
attest
the-
to that.
Because of the pressure you're putting on them.
Right. Through my feet, you need to drive with your toes.
Okay.
Through your toes into your chest, onto your chest.
Okay. Another thing that would be tough on the street, right? Digging
No,
into
because
it.
the only thing that would be on the ground would be my toes.
But you would have,
My chest on your chest, on your back.
you could be wearing dress shoes on
Oh, yeah.
tile floor.
Then I would go knee to belly. I'd put my knee right on your chest,
Okay.
and I have my other leg straight out.
Yeah.
And again, about the positions, would never trade strikes. Jiu-Jitsu would only strike when you can't strike me.
Okay.
Say, are you familiar with the mounted position when you're on your back and I'm sitting on your waist, basically?
Yeah.
And you know I can reach and punch you
Right.
down, but you can't reach up
Okay.
to punch me.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's one example
Yeah.
where I can strike you, you can't strike me.
But that doesn't happen in tournaments, right?
No,
That's
not the
normal.
strikes.
That's
No.
that's
There's no
just kind of
striking
like
in the
a-
turn. That's more
yeah.
street or the MMA.
Okay.
Or the
Yeah.
MMA.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
it's a lot of people don't realize, because they're younger, that the UFC originated from the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
You know, a lot of people just don't get that. You know,
Yeah.
It's because Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or Brazilian was so good at what it did that it was able to show the world. You know, it wasn't Kung Fu
Right.
that took on the world.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't karate. I got nothing against some of those karates. They're very,
Yeah.
very good
Yeah.
for what they were developed for at the time.
Right. Right.
At the
Makes
time.
sense.
But yeah, it was the Gracies that said, "Yeah, we will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, and let's do it." And
Yeah.
you can watch the videos.
Yeah.
You can watch.
And they would just mainly take down, grapple.
Take them down.
Yeah, and grapple.
Yeah, usually choke them out.
Yeah.
Every Gracie has their favorite submission.
Wow.
Most of them are choke though.
That's a huge name in that world for
It is.
for that
It is.
reason.
And when they came here, they built it up. You know,
Yeah.
oh, and back in Brazil, we're gods and this and that. But then on the job, a lot of the marble guys were
Okay.
Brazilian. So I used to talk to them. Hey, you guys train jiu-jitsu? They're like, nah, no jiu-jitsu. I said, ever hear of the Gracies? They're like, who? I'm like, the Gracies, jiu-jitsu. These Brazilians, they'd never heard of them. So it's like, it's one thing when they come to America and spread their name, which is good. That's,
Right.
that
That's how
you
it
had
got
to do
started.
But
Yeah.
once you realize in Brazil, it's not a bigger name as they
Right, because
kinda
they
tell you
probably
it
have
is.
their people that.
They want you to
developed
believe
it.
that everyone in Brazil trains
Okay.
jiu-jitsu. It's either jiu-jitsu or soccer, right? That's what because I know a lot of Brazilian guys, and that's why they all come here, because they don't want to live in Brazil.
No.
Oh no, they don't want to live there.
Gotcha.
That's why they all come here. It's better life. But it's training there. It's different.
Okay. So
It's just
the
different.
Gracies changed it a little bit?
They
Or
had
it's
to Americanize it.
Oh, okay.
You wear a white belt for 2 years? Come on, you tell an American that? You go down the road and get his black belt in karate in 2 years.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, that's a wildly
But
different.
it's just so much more complex
Yeah.
grappling than striking.
Yeah. Gotcha.
We have a striking class.
Oh, yeah?
That's specifically just for striking, but we don't do that in our normal classes. We might like test a punch if a punch is coming in. How do you block it? But
Of
we're
course.
not hitting. We don't. I mean, Ron does teach a little tiny bit of hitting, but There's a striking class for that.
Yeah. And that, do you wear like the
They wear
headgear and
I think
Oh yeah, I think
The-
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
gloves
The
and
gloves
they
and
have like a body pad.
Okay.
All that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
that's cool.
That's an
Yeah,
option.
we have a brown belt George that likes to strike, and he does our morning classes at 7 a.m. And he likes to choke.
Likes to strike and choke.
Strike
All
and choke.
Let's have coffee.
Those are his things.
Yeah.
Strike and choke, and the guys love him. They love his chokes. He's a choke master. So we have all our different coaches are
They have certain specialties.
they do, because again it's your personality. You bring your personality to the mat. It's really cool. So they each have their own little games. We have another brown belt, Vinny, is all into the leg attacks now. The leg attacks. That was never a big thing when I came up, attacking the legs.
Huh.
It just wasn't Brazilian macho. And if you attack the legs, if there's striking involved, you're susceptible to strikes. You know, if you're attacking my legs, I can hit you.
Actually, in my early 20s, my poker buddies, one of the buddies said, "Hey, I'm going to order a fight on pay-per-view. We're all going to go over, we're going to play poker, and then we'll watch the fight." The fight was literally like 10 seconds long. He paid quite a bit of money for it. And it was, one guy went for the legs, and the other guy kneed him in the side of the head, and it was over.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was
Yeah.
over, like instantly.
Yeah.
And we were all like just barely sipping our beer, like, oh. So we played another game of poker, but
Yeah, that can happen.
yeah, it
That
was,
can happen. Not that they're not good. I mean,
yeah. It's,
take the strikes out, and especially with the no-gi, that's where the game has gone now.
yeah.
No-gi, they're all leg hunters, it seems.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what you see. I follow a couple on Instagram or whatever, and they give you like the highlights of it. And it's two guys in shorts, and that's it. And, maybe gloves or something. And they're not even like padded gloves. They're just like UFC gloves, right? And they go at it, mixed martial arts. So it's kind of like, I can see that being the big hype because that's what you see on TV. That's what sells tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's changing. It's changed so much even since I've started. It really has. It really has. But the basics never change.
Yeah.
The basics never change. The basics will always get you through. There's been a world champion 10 times in a row, and he's just all basics. Solid basics,
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be all the new stuff, which is great. It comes up,
Right.
It's great that there's so many minds.
Yeah, and it
Thinking of
adds
this.
to all the
Sure, the
techniques.
defense. If anything,
Yeah.
for the defense, and you can't learn everything, but if
Right.
you're aware of it, again, in the self-defense part.
Yeah.
I learned karate, so I know how to defend karate, right? I kind of know how to defend boxing and wrestlers. Jiu-Jitsu prepares you for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't just prepare you to defend wrestlers if you're a wrestler. Wrestlers just defend wrestlers. Boxers just defend boxers. But,
Yeah.
That's why before MMA, they called it Valley Judo, which means anything goes.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I came up, that was kind of after you did the tournaments, that was the next step.
Oh, wow.
I felt like, not that I was expected, but I felt like I had to do the MMA to make what I was doing legitimate, because that really was the path
Yeah.
that you took 20 years ago. That's
Wow.
kind of what you did.
Yeah.
So, I did it. And I was old when I did a couple of the MMAs, but I just felt that I had to do it because I knew in my heart I was going to be here one day doing this.
Yeah.
And I felt to legitimize myself in a way
Right.
that I had to do a couple of MMAs.
Kind of like had to have it on the bucket list.
Yeah, I
to get
guess.
to-
I guess.
Yeah.
And
Now,
not so much the bucket list, but again, to say, how am I going to say I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and I never did MMA?
okay.
Sure, today it's Americanized. But again, back 30 years ago,
Right.
it was kind of expected.
Yeah.
The best Jiu-Jitsu guys went and did MMA.
Right.
And if I was younger, I would have done more. I would have,
Yeah.
just to test myself.
Right. Yeah. It's that
And
next
it's-
level.
There's nothing like getting in that ring. It's
Okay.
a whole different world.
Wow.
It really is.
You can see it in your
You
face.
can't
everything.
even explain it. You can't even explain it.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just, I talk about emotions that you got to control, and there's so many people, and yeah,
Yeah.
I could see how guys get addicted to that.
Right.
Being
yeah.
in that ring like that.
Yeah.
I only did a couple times, and it was small local stuff, but still, it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Especially if you get them to tap or you knock them out.
Yeah,
like the,
right, yeah.
The endorphins
My
that
first
release the
one
whole.
lasted less than a minute. Got to his back, choked him out, But the next one, that was the tough one. I was in my 40s,
Yeah.
early 40s, and he was 21.
Oh, wow.
High school D1 wrestler.
Wow.
Was the champ of this promotion.
Yeah.
They couldn't find anybody to beat him.
Wow.
So they gave me a shot. I went the distance. First guy to ever go to distance with him,
Yeah.
and lost the decision. That was before gloves. No gloves. Open hand.
Open hand.
Open hand.
Wow. But he was a wrestler and you were jiu-jitsu.
He was a wrestler that was training jiu-jitsu.
So did you have? So was there striking?
Oh yeah,
Or
open
it
hand,
was,
kicks,
oh, okay.
everything. Yeah, total
Wow.
MMA. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Again, before it was sanctioned. This was
Yeah.
before it was sanctioned.
Some back alleyway. I'm just-
Well, they actually had it in some legit places, but
Yeah.
it was some shady stuff in the beginning. Like I said, no gloves.
right.
Just open hand.
Wow.
That could be worse.
I get. Yeah. You tell me. That can be
Oh,
worse.
yeah.
Yeah. So they have I actually have a pair for hitting the bag, the jiu-jitsu gloves, and they have some padding on them, and then I have boxing gloves too that have a lot of padding. Do you think it would change the sport if they took the gloves away for MMA? Because then
Well, they
You
can't
would
take
have-
them away. It's the legislature. That's the only reason they kept doing it. They had to put the gloves
They
on.
had to put the gloves on. But
Right.
wouldn't that just hear me out? If we took the gloves off, me, instead of all out punching you, I'm gonna be a little bit more reserved because I don't want to hurt my hand. You know what I mean? I feel like it's when I have pads on, I'm gonna more confidently strike with all I've got, and
Right.
I feel like isn't that worse for the person receiving the punch?
Well, that's
Like,
they say there's less padding, but the boxers get more head trauma
right.
because it's more punches.
Yeah.
So
it's more
yeah,
padding,
if you
more
took away the
punches.
punch, but then do you see the bare knuckle guys, man?
Well, I mean, I don't. there's
but they tape.
Yeah, with the tape, but
They tape, but still, man.
yeah,
Do you want it to go to that?
I don't know. To me, with the gloves, you're gonna have more brain.
No, I
trauma,
know
'cause
exactly
The brain's
right,
getting jostled
exactly.
that many more times. Whereas, if my hand's starting to hurt, I'm gonna stop hitting you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And it happens. You
It's-
see these guys break their hands.
yeah,
course.
even with the gloves.
Yeah, right,
you know,
right. Yeah, those are small gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, it's a safety thing. It's a sport, and it's changed jiu-jitsu too, because the first UFC's no time limits.
oh, okay.
No time.
They're just
Just
going.
get in there, and one guy wins.
Yeah.
So that's when it favored jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is no rush. We're gonna
Right.
Get in there. We're going to
Stamina,
on top of them.
you get on top, you
tire
wear
him
'em out.
out.
Yeah.
Right. And if you watch the first ones, that's what Hoist did.
Yeah.
But then they shut it down. Actually, the next one they were going to have was in Providence. And we were going to go. We actually had tickets. But that's when they said no more. They shut it down. And they went out, I think, to Colorado again for that one. But then they shut it. I'm not sure for how long. And they came back with the time limits.
Okay.
So that right away, when you put time on a jiu-jitsu guy, that takes away.
Right.
There's no time in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're in the street. Okay, you got 2 minutes to beat that guy, or what? In the street.
Well, the cops would be 20 minutes away.
So once they put the time
Yeah.
on the jiu-jitsu and the rounds, you give this guy a break now. The jiu-jitsu guy spends 5 minutes getting this guy tired,
Yeah.
and you're going to give him a 2-minute break now.
Yeah. When when my kids were younger, I was trying to show them some YouTube videos of anything and there was a jiu-jitsu guy, and he was talking about how the one street fight he had been in, he says the attacker was like the luckiest guy because it was me. I got on top of him, and he couldn't hit me, and I just sat there, and we ended up talking it out to the point where he finally let him up. But he was like, and he was showing the move where basically you're on top of him. I think he had the assailant face down.
Oh, that's
and
even
basically
better. Sure.
It didn't take much to hold him because you're on top, and then for them not to be able to turn, and that was it. And then it became like conversation, and then like he talked him out of it. And then
Well,
it was
that's the good thing about good about jiu-jitsu. It's controlled violence.
right.
It can be as violent as you want.
Yeah.
You could hold you down until the teacher
Yeah.
or the cops come, or we can, do all kinds of ugly things
Yeah.
if we wanted to.
Right.
You
right.
know, that's
Makes sense.
again back to the bullies. That's my favorite people to come in actually.
Yeah.
Whether it be adults, usually the adult bullies don't last, or the kids. That's the kids we want to get to.
Yeah.
And Danielle mentioned some of our kids have problems with bullies, but I try to make the kids understand these bullies are being bullied. So that's who we want to
Right.
is those kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and like when you have a bully basically coming in, they're just, if they get into the lifestyle, the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, they're going to change with their ways. Even when you're not a bully, I'm pretty sure you change your ways, and it just becomes a different way of life, and you're changing for the better, regardless where you're starting, I guess.
One thing, I guess, when I started karate, you're in all these, young guys. They were all, good, way better than me. And it just flashed in my head. You don't know what anyone knows.
Right.
That's when I started, like I
Yeah.
say, these guys down here, you look at them, they're the nicest guys in the world. You wouldn't know they're killers. That's when I realized in the dojo in Jewett City, I'm like, these guys are young guys. They're clean cut, nice guys. You wouldn't know how nasty these guys are. And then me as a stupid 23-year-old kid, think, oh, wow, you don't really know what people know. Sometimes in jiu-jitsu, because they get the little cauliflower ears.
Oh, okay.
You see that, you don't mess with that guy.
Yeah. But that's when you had your aha moment for
Kind of, yeah. So
23.
you don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea what else is
Right,
what they've
yeah.
been through, what
Right,
they're going through now,
And what,
yeah.
they could destroy me, I don't know this. I see him out there. I wouldn't know he could destroy me. you
Right.
know, so-
Yeah.
And it's even more like that in jiu-jitsu because we have guys that come in, and our ladies
Mm-hmm.
have their way
Yeah.
with the new guys that
Yeah.
don't know, obviously,
Right,
and they
yeah.
they get discouraged, but don't get discouraged just because you don't know.
Gotcha.
It took 2 years to get to this skill level.
Yeah.
It's not something you just wake up and
Right.
you're a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, like we were saying before, it's a practice. If you want to give us your address again and your website.
Yeah, we're at 208 Providence Road in Brooklyn, located inside Ashling Fit. The website is bjjsquaredbrooklyn.com. Email address is the same, bjjsquaredbrooklyn@gmail. We have classes 7 days a week, all different kinds. We have MMA, we have adult jiu-jitsu, women jiu-jitsu, self-defense, kids, competitive kids, advanced jiu-jitsu, and a wrestling class.
Wow.
So a lot of different opportunities. The website has the information on pricing, schedule. If you reach out, we'll set you up. And there's a free week trial. So when
Free
you
week.
want to come, you get to try for a week.
Nice.
See if you like it before you commit. Go for
I
it.
don't think it's a matter of liking it or not.
I just set little goals for myself. I was
Yeah.
like, making it through week 1, did it. Let's see if I can do a month, did it. And then it
Yeah.
just became, now
Right.
I'm never stopping.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was small goals.
Yeah. Yep. To set the expectations
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is to, like you were saying, you were so intimidated at first, and like I can't tell you guys how approachable Ron and Danielle are for anyone out there that's even just a little, well, maybe, try it. Definitely try it. At the very least, you won't be scared anymore. Even if it's not for you, it'll be something that you tried and you're like, oh, it's not scary to go to a dojo and see what it's like and whatnot. Yeah. So, I mean, thank you guys so much for coming in. If you have anything else to add, please. This has been super enlightening.
Thanks for having us. We're just trying to get the community involved as much as we can always. Just
Nice.
and Ron's always said it, just get in the door.
Yeah.
Just got to walk in the door and the mat takes care of the rest. So.
Yeah.
But we're here and anyone can do it.
Nice. Well said. Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for watching the Community Workbench family. Hang on. Hold on. Kyle's not here. All right. The Community Workbench family is promoting the Be the One campaign. It was started by the American Legion in efforts to stop veteran suicide. For more details, visit betheone.org. Join us Monday night, July 15th, when we interview Philip Kiley, a proud member of the American Legion in Danielson. Monday nights, we go live at 6. Philip will be able to enlighten us more about the Be the One campaign and everything else that the American Legion does for our local area and the nation as a whole in their group. As always, buy local, hire local, dine local, volunteer local, and donate local. Have great days, everyone.
Oh.